Hi everyone. I'm Christina from Wheelock. I do a little language, a little literacy, a little leadership, a little of everything. I'm going to talk about one project today about how we talk about America and the implementation of Executive Order 14224, which is the executive order that declared that English is the official language of the United States. So what's going on? We have this executive order that says, I quote, "From the founding of our republic, English has been used as our national language." Really? Interesting. Yeah, okay. And then 2 weekends ago, not this past weekend, but 2 weekends ago, Bad Bunny won the Grammy for Album of the Year, the first time that has ever been awarded to an album that is not in English. So lots of conflicting input happening. This study is a discourse analysis about the memo for the implementation of 14224. I'm not a lawyer, and I can't quote a league of their own. So I'm interested in what, we're going to skip over the part about whether executive orders or how laws are made, and think about what the Department of Justice is now saying to agencies should happen and how it should be implemented and how America is talked about. We used a framework from Ruth Wodak about discrimination as discourse to think about what discursive vision of America is presented in this guidance to federal agencies. So here's one quote. I can only show you one in 4 minutes. But a few things going on. There is a lot of talk about traditions. We're going to return to our monolingual tradition that I do not recollect ever having happened. We're going to achieve the American dream, which is an old idea. Became quite popular during the Depression, not always before that. This sort of nostalgia will be really unified if we do this. So that's one thing happening across this whole memo. Another thing that's happening is this forward-looking talk. We're going to be efficient, technologically efficient, which is an interesting way to say we're going to fire a lot of people. It happens throughout the memo. There is very little talk about what we're going to do right now. There's a lot of talk about past case law. There's a lot of talk about this future in which everyone can communicate, and we will use technology to support that process in lots of ways. But it is interesting to think about a discursive presentation of a past and a future without a lot of present. It allows us to say a sort of minimal detail about what might happen as we do this, that we're going to fire lots of useful interpreters from lots of agencies, that there is potential danger in communicating only in English if there are health crises or weather crises, all sorts of potential outcomes that could come forward from this. It situates these policies as focused on American, as only people who use English, and that it has been that way in a way that is a bit of a rewriting of what actually happened here. And it conflates American and English quite explicitly, presenting America as historically monolingual and primarily monolingual in the future. And, you know, I watched the Super Bowl. I have questions. And I watched everybody be super cool about it too, and not at all freaking out about the Spanish. So it is sort of interesting to think about, this is the guidance that's being given to the federal agencies about how to do the work of implementing 14224. So that's what I wanted to talk about briefly today.